you to find out what are things you need to consider if you're going to be a digital nomad full time. And this is from someone who has been working online, been working anywhere, been working from home for the last 15 years now, and now just doing full-time nomad. I'm currently right now in Hoi An, Vietnam. Come with me and I'll tell you guys all about it. Now, a lot of people don't believe me when I tell them I've been doing Nomad since I was 15 years old because I got my very first writing gig for a blog when I was 15. And I'm now turning 30 in 3 months. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of pros and cons on what it's actually like. Now, one of the first things you want to consider is having a job that you can be a nomad with. So that's something that you have to kind of, it depends on your lifestyle, depends on the life you live. Some people are good having a full 8 hour day and being able to be a nomad afterwards. My husband is a really good example where he works nights. Has a US client. So his work style is like from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. He has straight work and then he sleeps and then he basically nomads in the afternoon with me. There's some people like myself where I'm a little bit more flexible just because it is my own business where I can have sporadic meetings throughout the day or have my meetings all in the morning and then be able to run around in the afternoon and then work again in the evening. So really depends. But that's the first thing you want to consider is figuring out what kind of work life balance you want and then finding a job that aligns to that. Next thing you want to consider is your travel workspace. And this is something that I struggled with a little bit was kind of getting used to not having my desktop and my standing desk or just a very comfy chair basically to sit on because sometimes when you are going from Airbnb to a hotel or Airbnb, you're not really always guaranteed a spot to be able to work. So for example, for me, I kind of have it now down to what I am really comfortable with. So I have my laptop on kind of a laptop stand that basically sticks to the back of my laptop, which has been great because then I can set it up anywhere. You don't have to bring extra equipment. I have my camera that I usually use to film these videos with a light source, so then I can just use it when I'm doing video calls and it gets really dark. And then I have my iPad as a second screen, which is great when I'm doing a lot of calls or when I'm just sharing screen with other people. And the other essential thing for me is having a window. And that's been a key thing that I really, really need when I'm working is having not just a light source basically when I'm doing videos like this, but it's also a way for me to look out, stretch my eyes, especially if I've been working really, really straight. And it's kind of one of the minimums that I now have when it comes to looking for Airbnbs that I want to work at. So depending on what that list is for you, whether it's a comfy chair, whether that's window, whether that's having the equipment, you have to keep in mind it has to be travel friendly, where it's easy for you to grab and go from one place to the others. Again, it's especially if you're switching from Airbnbs and rentals and wherever else that you're going. By the way, we're back in Da Nang, so I'm just going to show you guys around a little bit of my favorite spots and coffee shops as well in between these tips and as I think about them as well on the go. Next thing to consider is cost, and I'm not just talking about the cost of like an Airbnb or internet, which you should consider for sure. So for example, for me, I am able to do this a lot because I'm not paying rent at my usual home base in Cebu. That's kind of basically what I would have paid for my rent there. I'm paying for rent anywhere else that I go. Another cost is like things like your eSIMs, your shampoo, for me, my hair and skin routine, whatever that looks like. These are the costs that you want to think about. But there's also the cost of not seeing your family, not being there right away. There's the cost to basically not just being there for like important events and stuff, not seeing your friends. I miss my friends a lot, the ones who are in Cebu and like anywhere else who are not here. So that's kind of one of the things. It's just a little bit of considering what are the things that you won't be able to do, the people you won't get to see, the experiences that you could have when you are digital nomading. So those are some of the costs to consider. Of course, there are like things like flights. There's things like maybe paying taxes in other places depending on where you are. But that's something that I'm learning is just not being around my family is a little bit sad. Not being around my friends is a little bit sad. So yeah, just more things to think about and consider as we're rocking around in this beautiful day in Da Nang, in Vietnam. Now, another thing you have to consider when you are thinking of doing the full-time digital nomad thing is that a lot of the time your day just looks like this, where you're able to get some work done in the morning and the afternoon and then have your evenings by the beach. Right now, since I am in Da Nang, it's like just a 5-minute walk from our Airbnb, which is nice. Uh, there is like a loud partying going on right over there. But you know what? Again, that's kind of part of it is that you're taken out of what could be a routine of what your life would usually look like if you were just kind of really just at home, which I was for the last like 10 years. So like expect a little bit of the unexpected or just being taken out of your normal. But again, it's really important that you do have your own routine that you can maintain as you're going through different parts of the world, wherever you're traveling to. But yeah, sometimes your life, your working life, just looks a little bit like this. Another thing to consider when you're becoming a full-time digital nomad is sometimes you can be really lonely, and trying to think of ways to either have someone travel with you or you might have to do this a little bit solo. So for me, I'm very lucky that my husband does have a remote job as well. So when I decided that, hey, I really want to do this, let's do this right after we get married, we were able to just pick up our life and go just because he's already on the go. And for me, I've met up with a lot of my friends who are also nomads. I've done different events while I'm a nomad. So I have been very lucky that I was able to set up my life that way. But if you are still really considering about doing the nomad life, yeah, just keep that in mind that it can be lonely if you don't know how to network, if you don't know where to find events to network, if you don't know anyone else who might be doing the same lifestyle as you, or you don't have anyone to travel with you. So this is one thing to consider. Watching back the recording and I realized it might be a little bit pessimistic, but there are digital nomad events that you can attend. There's one all over the world, depending on where you're going. The one that I just did the video of when I went to Shimoda, Japan. We're doing a co-living in November. If you guys want to join that, there's gonna be a link in the description below. If you guys want to do like the reason why I knew about Da Nang is I was here for a different event in March where they were doing Vietnam Digital Nomad or Vietnam Nomad Fest, and that's happening every year. So it's then just finding events like that where you can find friends, you can meet people. It doesn't have to be just this lonely thing. You can meet people at co-working spaces or cafes or even just sitting on a beach, cooling down after a good swim. And finally, you do have to find your own pace and what it means for you to be a digital nomad. And that could mean a lot of things. It could be someone like me, where we're doing like the Slowmad, where we're exploring different countries, different cities. We're going to amusement parks, we're going to the beach, we're going to do a lot of these different things. I know people who just kind of stay at home, even when they're in a different country. And I know people who do 1 week or 2 weeks in different countries at a time. So every single time they're moving somewhere else as well. So you have to kind of really find what it means for you to be a digital nomad, to be traveling the world and working and making money at the same time, and essentially growing your own dreams and goals and whatever that looks like for you. So you do have to find what that means for you, and no one else can really define it. And the best way to find out what it means for you is to do it, is to just start. is to really take action, book that flight, plan your life. Don't just book it without planning. Plan it a little bit where you find that balance between working and growing a business like I do and traveling the world and seeing more of the things that you have on your vision board. Right now, we're going to be going on a flight from Da Nang to Bangkok. I'm going to be spending basically just the weekend in Bangkok. There's going to be a NAS summit. I'm not sure if I'm going to be vlogging that, but we'll see. But if you guys have, and of course, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below your own tips and tricks or questions on how to be a digital nomad. I would love to guide you and walk you guys through it. If you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my future videos on how to grow a career online. And if you want to grow your business online, make sure to check out my second channel here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and with that, small steps matters. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!